This is the HRV RS, the most expensive variant of the HRV. Now you might think that this is just an HRV-V with a body kit, but there's actually a lot more going on under the skin. So is it worth your money? Let's find out. To be honest, when I first saw the HRV RS at Mia's, it did not pique my interest because, like most, I thought it was just an HRV with new wheels and a flashier grille. But then I got to drive it, and I noticed right away that it felt very sharp. After doing research on it, apparently it is different from the regular HRV-V in a lot of ways. It has 20% increased lateral rigidity, 30% improved transmission performance over the HRV V-Turbo, and the most noticeable of all, it has 30% quicker steering. So it actually lives up to its RS name as it has actual performance upgrades. Now the HRV RS may not just be a regular HRV with a body kit, but it does come with a couple of cosmetic upgrades. Starting off with these 18-inch wheels, which I think are a major improvement over the 17s of the lower variants. Not only is it bigger, I think it also looks much better. The wheels are finished in gunmetal, and they're wrapped in 225 50 series Yokohama tires. Also, you get these chrome accents on the grille, which are lacking on the V variant. The V gets a gloss black grille. So they're smaller at the center and they get bigger towards the sides, which kind of remind me of Peugeot. Now, like the V, this also gets this kink down here, which looks like a heartbeat. Only this is finished in red, while on the V, it's finished in silver. Now, like the V, this also gets this aggressive-looking chin down here, and these aggressive-looking squinty LED headlamps. Now, I really like the profile of the HRV. It has grown on me a lot since I first saw it. Its low roofline and this fastback-like rear end give it a very sporty, coupe-like appearance. Like a lot of Honda's recent designs, this gets a lot of straight horizontal lines, like this one that runs from the front all the way to the back. You don't get flat black fender moldings. These are finished in gloss black. This gets power folding side mirrors with repeaters. Smart locking system. To unlock the vehicle, I just have to put my hand here. It automatically unlocks. And if I want to lock the vehicle, I can just walk away, or I can just put my finger here. By the way, one quirk of the HRV is that you won't find the door opener over here, where you would expect to find it. The door opener is on the C-pillar, to enhance the coupe-like appearance of the HRV, I guess. It looks unique, but it's also something that you'll have to point out to every single person who's getting in the car for the first time. Otherwise, they'll get confused. Here at the back, the main difference between the RS and the V is that on the RS, this light bar over here is clear, while on the V, it is finished in red. And of course, you also get the RS badging over here. But like the V, this also gets dual exhaust tips, and it also gets a manual liftgate. The HRV has 400 liters of cargo space behind the rear seats, which is not bad considering how small the HRV is. If you need to expand the space, Honda gives you plenty of options in the HRV. The HRV features Honda's ULT system, so you can fit stuff of various shapes and sizes. If you need to fit long items, you can fold the second row seats like you can on most crossovers. Unlike most crossovers though, you can also lift the seat bottoms up so you can fit taller items. The HRV RS has the same 1.5-liter turbo engine as the HRV V, which puts out 177 horsepower and 240 Nm of torque. It's coupled to a CVT transmission. The interior of the HRV looks okay, but to be honest, you can find much better looking interiors in this price. But overall, it gives you a feeling of quality And that's what's important. Everything feels solid. Most of the buttons and knobs feel crisp. My only gripe here is the infotainment screen, which looks like a CRT TV on top of the dashboard. So you have this housing behind the screen, which makes it look like an old CRT TV. It just sticks out like a sore thumb in this interior. I wish they went with a slimmer unit, or they just integrated it into the dashboard. The dashboard has a pretty simple look to it. You have these straight horizontal lines. You have 4 air con vents, and the side air con vents have these knobs over here. Now this is for diffusing the airflow coming out of the air vents. Now on the inside, the difference between this RS variant and the lower V variant is that this comes with a power adjustable driver's seat. By the way, all the seats are leather wrapped, and they also have red stitching on them. This also gets paddle shifters, which the V also gets. The steering wheel is leather wrapped, it tilts and it also telescopes. And you get a lot of buttons here because, like the other variants of the HR-V, this also gets Honda sensing. The HR-V RS comes with a fully digital instrument cluster, which the V variant also gets, but not the base S variant. One more thing that I like about the HR-V's interior is that the visor does this, so you can get better protection from the sun. Now in terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. There's not much storage underneath the armrest. You have a cubby here for storing your phone, and a cubby over here for storing loose items. You have 2 cup holders over here. You get an electronic parking brake without a hold. I also like how the headliner and the pillars are finished in black, so you get a more uniform looking interior. Overall, it's not so bad here at the front. Let's check out the back. Now, space here at the back is quite adequate. I'm 5'8" and I have quite a lot of legroom. It's about 7 inches or more. Headroom is okay for a car with a sloping roofline. I have about 2 inches of headroom. Yeah, the flooring is also relatively flat. You have a bit of a center tunnel here, but it's not that high. The seat is not that low and it's not that high either. My knees are at a comfortable angle. They're soft enough to be comfortable, but also firm enough to be supportive. And they just have enough bolstering that you don't feel like you're sitting on a bench. This also gets a foldable armrest with 2 cup holders. I just wish that it was a bit higher. You have 2 air con vents over there, 2 USB ports, and a bit of storage over here. So to summarize, the visual differences between the RS and the V on the outside are the grille, the larger wheels, the gloss black fender moldings, the red heartbeat, and the clear tail lamps. On the inside, the RS gets a power driver's seat, a black headliner, and the seats get red stitching. So in terms of looks, the differences are not that significant, at least not enough to warrant the 90,000 peso price difference. But like we said in the intro, this is more than just a cosmetic package. Okay, activating adaptive cruise control now, setting the speed to 50 kph. So I have adaptive cruise turned on right now, and as you can see, my feet are not doing anything. So I set my speed to 52 kph, but it automatically adjusts my speed depending on the speed of the car in front of me. So right now it's slowing down, and I'm slowing down as well. It automatically applies the brakes, and it automatically applies the gas, depending on the speed of traffic ahead of me. Now this is useful on long road trips as your right foot gets to rest for a while. But I think it's even more useful in stop and go city traffic, as your feet do a lot more work in stop and go traffic. So I came to a complete stop, and it resumed again when the car in front of me moved. And we're coming to a complete stop again without my foot doing anything. It reduces driver fatigue by a lot, since your feet don't have to constantly move like that.
Okay, so that was basically Ortigas all the way to we're almost at Quezon Avenue, and I barely moved my feet. So it really does help reduce driver fatigue by a lot in stop and go traffic like this. Now, like I always say, this is driver assist and it's not autopilot, which means that you still have to pay attention to the road at all times, and you always have to be ready to intervene.
This also has lane keep assist, which automatically steers the car by following the lines on the road. Now, this only works at highway speeds above 70 kph, and it's not quite as advanced as Subaru's EyeSight 4 in that it requires a bit more intervention.
We're now driving on the highway. I have adaptive cruise turned on. I have lane keep assist turned on. My feet are not doing anything, and my hands are just hovering over the wheel. You can see I'm not actually doing the steering here. So I'm basically the supervisor here. I'm just checking if the car is doing what it's supposed to. Like it's supposed to slow down right now, and it's doing just that. It's slowing down. Gonna shift to the left lane. God, I love the steering of this car. It's so sharp, it's so hefty.
And of course, this has automatic emergency braking, which I think should be a standard feature on more cars nowadays. Unlike adaptive cruise, this is always turned on and activates the brakes at the last moment if it calculates that a collision is inevitable. This is an important feature as it not only protects you when an accident happens, it also prevents an accident from happening in the first place.
So the HRV also has a lane watch camera. You basically have a camera on the right side mirror which shows you your blind spot, and you can activate that by activating your right turn signal, as you can see.
The only thing that I don't like about it is that it takes over the entire screen, which sucks when you're using Waze.
Despite having a CVT, I think the Honda HRV is one of the most engaging cars to drive in this segment. Steering feels very sharp. It's also very weighty. And sometimes you forget that it actually has a CVT.
Let me explain what I mean by that. When you floor the car on other CVT vehicles, the RPM initially goes up by a lot without a proportional increase in speed. And then at some point, it goes up very slowly and stays at a certain RPM, creating that droning sound, which is quite unpleasant. The CVT of the HRV reacts much quicker.
Actually faster on
The initial bite still doesn't feel as abrupt as a dual clutch or a regular automatic, but much better than most CVTs in the market. The RPM goes up a lot faster, and it simulates shifts at the top, which, now that I think about it, I don't mind so much, as it minimizes the CVT drone.
Happy na. The leftmost lane is supposed to be the overtaking lane, pero all the slow cars are over there.
I'd say the steering ratio is one of the quickest in its class. It's also quite heavy and provides plenty of feedback. The suspension is on the stiffer side, but it's not uncomfortable. It's stiff enough to keep the HRV from swaying too much when you're turning at higher speeds. Overall, the HRV feels quite satisfying to drive. Now, in terms of fuel economy, it is very fuel efficient. I got about 21 kpl on the highway and about 10 kpl in the city. The thing is though, the fuel tank is very small, so I had to refuel a couple of times during the 1 week that I had the car, and I didn't even travel that far. The Honda HRV RS sells for 1,739,000 pesos, which is 90,000 pesos more than the HRV V. If you wanted an opal white silver pearl, you'll have to add an additional 20,000 pesos. At those prices, it's not gonna offer you the best value for money if you just want a car that gets you from point A to B. It doesn't have the nicest interior, it doesn't have the most features, it's not the most spacious. But if you want a crossover that looks as exciting as it drives, and from a brand with a good track record of building cars with a good balance of performance and reliability, then you might want to check this out.